at 5.
Good evening and welcome to the MTN News at 5 on KTGF. Tom Windley here broadcasting from downtown Great Falls. Thanks for joining us. First tonight, the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services and Montana Veterans Affairs Division need input to help shape the future of veterans care in the state. MTN's Tom Buchanan reports.
A 10-minute survey could make all the difference for veterans care right here in Montana. DPHHS, in partnership with the Montana Veteran Affairs Division, are asking veterans for their input to help shape Montana's Veterans Long-Term Care Services Network.
It's to collect data to find out where they are and information that will help us figure out what their long-term care needs are.
Once this information is gathered, interested parties will have a better idea of what veterans in the state need. For example, this information will help them know if more services such as in-home care, Alzheimer's care, and more are needed. This information can then be taken into the legislative process for funding. This survey itself was born out of the most recent legislative session under House Bill 264. $40,000 was allocated for the survey, which will run every 10 years.
This survey and this program is just one more way to reach veterans across the state to tell them you matter and we want to know where you are. We want to help you. We want to bring you into the fold. We want to help provide services for you.
Staff are working to get the word out to veterans through the mail and in-person visits. Veterans can fill out the survey through physical paper copies or online. We'll have the link to the online survey on our website. The survey closing date is June 15th. Reporting in Helena, Tom Buchanan, MTN News.
Attorney General Austin Knudsen of the Department of Justice announced Kurt Sager will serve as the new head of the Montana Highway Patrol. Colonel Sager has 21 years with MHP. He started as a trooper in northeastern Montana and most recently served as lieutenant colonel and interim head of the patrol. He also oversaw the relocation of the Montana Highway Patrol headquarters from Helena to Boulder. Previous MHP Colonel Steve Lavins retired from the position earlier this month. Showers and overcast skies the next few days. Time now for a check of our forecast with meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. After last night's rain, boy, that was some healthy rain. We saw about 0.8 of an inch across a lot of the Great Falls area here. I'll have more on that coming up in the later forecast, but kind of cloudy and coolish today. Temperatures in the 40s. West of town, closer to Augusta, we've had some snow, especially even just west of Augusta, right up along the Rocky Mountain front. Cuck Bank seeing a little snow as well. Winter weather advisory continues for West Cup Bank, Browning, around Babb, St. Mary, and the East Glacier area, and a winter storm watch now including the Big Snowies and also the Judith Mountains. But I'll talk about a flood warning. A warning means something is either imminent or it's happening right now. And Lodge Creek here expected to have moderate flooding 3 feet above flood stage. Flood stage was 7 feet. We make it up to 10 feet here. So watch out for some water. Turn around, do not drown up in that part of the state. A generation of boomers. Yeah, we had a few last night, a few more maybe tonight, closer to the Rocky Mountain front. And tomorrow, fog and freezing drizzle. Speaking of the Rocky Mountain front, I had a little bit of that tonight and tomorrow. And then a lot of the state turning white this weekend. I'll have more in our next check of the forecast.
Next week marks the return of No More Violence Week to Great Falls. Now in its 10th year, it began as a response to a growing number of tragic events involving children. It's now synonymous with prevention of child abuse. MTN's Tim McGonigal spoke with the organizer to see what's new this year.
The pinwheels are a national symbol that every child deserves a happy and healthy childhood.
Pinwheels are placed in conjunction with National Child Abuse Prevention Month. 10 years ago, a Great Falls College professor and her students took it a step further in response to a growing number of childhood fatalities resulting from abuse and neglect.
And they determined it was time to do something more than just say, this can't keep happening. And they started a series of educational events at the college that grew into No More Violence Week. Over time, it grew from the college out into the community.
It's now grown to an annual event with over 20 organizations participating. This year features a Montana Department of Justice presentation on sextortion.
It's really a subject that's continually changing in this day and age, and we would highly recommend folks come and learn a little bit more about what it is and what they can do in helping to prevent it.
Another presentation by former Great Falls Symphony member Alyssa Ragau uses music to help send an important message.
And so she will be doing a whole piece utilizing music, literature, writing, all different forms of art to walk through really a piece on how we heal from violence in our lives or violence in our community.
Another program will feature the screening of a documentary serving as the launch of United Way of Cascade County's Early Childhood Initiative. A community quilt project called Threads of Connection is back at Paris Gibson Square, and for the first time ever, Great Falls will host the statewide Prevent Child Abuse and Neglect Conference. Marshall says it may be hard to measure if No More Violence Week is preventing abuse, but after 10 years, she does feel it's made an impact.
I'll have someone in the community say, and not because of me personally, but in general, hey Jamie, I shared that resource with someone, or hey Jamie, I saw this and we integrated this into our organization, or hey, we made this change because of this trainer.
We have a link to the No More Violence Week schedule of events on our website. In Great Falls, Tim McGonigal, MTN News.
The 44th annual Icebreaker Race is coming up in just a few weeks. The event is set to take place on Sunday, April 28th at 1 o'clock, geared toward families as well as experienced and elite runners. It offers a 5-mile race, a 3-mile run, and a 1-mile run fitness walk. The race has been named one of the top 100 road races in the country by Runner's World magazine.
We currently have about 1,000 participants registered, and we are anticipating a great deal more. We are looking forward to some great weather, the fun family atmosphere, and the start of our summer season.
Registration costs $22 for adults and $15 for youth, 10 years and under. When registered, participants will receive a long sleeve shirt and a finisher's medal. There's still time to register. To find out how, visit our website. The state of Montana now has a pediatric rheumatologist. The Treasure State was one of only 7 states without a doctor of this kind until the arrival of Dr. Julie Campbell. MTN's Maggie Riley has more on her decision to come to Montana and what this means for the state.
Montana has been quite underserved for a long time.
Rheumatology is the study and management of musculoskeletal conditions as well as autoimmune and inflammatory conditions. She first grew an interest in the subject watching her grandmother manage her own lupus diagnosis.
Exposed me to a lot of the challenges of chronic disease and also a lot of the amazing victories of chronic disease when you can get it under control.
Dr. Campbell is now the first ever pediatric rheumatologist to have a practice in the state of Montana. As a Bozeman native, she knew she always wanted to return to her home state and treat kids.
I certainly love kids. Adults are smelly and grumpy and they don't do what you want them to, and kids are just so much more fun and much more of a joy to work with every day. So that was a no-brainer for me as well.
Since starting her practice in October of 2023, Dr. Campbell already sees roughly 500 to 800 kids. Before coming to Montana, care and treatment for these kids was limited.
There have been a couple different groups that have come out to Montana to help kind of fill the gap. Seattle Children's came to Missoula about 8 or 9 times a year, and then both Colorado Children's and University of Utah come to Billings as well, but certainly no one has ever come to the Great Falls area before.
Dr. Campbell now travels to treat kids all over the state. She is based out of Missoula at Logan Health, but comes to Great Falls and Kalispell for 2 days, alternating months, and to Bozeman once a month. Her impact has already been felt by many, including 12-year-old Allison Fitzpatrick, who was diagnosed with juvenile arthritis a year ago.
I would wake up and my hands and feet would be really stiff and they'd hurt a lot.
Allison and her family first sought treatment in Missoula and actually worked with Dr. Campbell when she was a fellow in Seattle through telehealth. Now, they no longer need to travel to receive care.
She's really nice and sweet, and she's super fun, and even though she's sweet, she takes seriously things, and she always asks about my opinion and what I want to do.
An impact Dr. Campbell hopes to continue across the state.
I think probably the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is being able to get to know the families and the kids so much better and create more of a community.
In Great Falls, Maggie Riley, MTN News.